So let's begin our discussion. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to our panel discussion entitled Behind the Trash Bin, The Secret Journey of Malaysia's Food. My name is Hadif, and I will be serving as the moderator for today's discussion. So today we will discuss a growing issue in Malaysia, which is food waste. Food waste occurs at both household and restaurants level and is often influenced by food management practices and consumer behaviors. Throughout this discussion, we will explore how everyday consumer decisions, household practices, restaurant operations, and technological innovations that may influence the way food is managed and wasted. So for today, our central discussion question revolves around to what extent is food waste in Malaysia driven by consumer behaviors and restaurant practices, and can digital innovations and smart operational practices effectively solve it? The purpose of today's discussion is to examine food waste practices in Malaysia and explore how responsible food management can contribute to a more sustainable consumption and production. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our panelists. Joining me today are Shami, who will share his perspective on food management practices at the household level.
Thank you, Adif. So I am grateful to be part of this discussion, and I also look forward to sharing my perspective on household food management.
Next, we have Mai, who will discuss food waste challenges within the restaurant sector.
Thank you, Hadif. So I'm honored to participate in today's discussion and share some insight on food issues faced by the restaurant sector.
We also have Young, who will explore how smart operational practices may help reduce food waste.
Thank you, Hadif. I look forward to discussing how smarter operation practice approach may help address food waste more effectively.
And also we have Safar, who will discuss the role of digital innovations in supporting a more sustainable food consumption.
Thank you, Arif. I'm glad to be part of this panel and discuss how digital technologies may contribute to reducing food waste and promoting sustainability.
Thank you all for being here today. To begin, I would like to ask you all a general question. Although many awareness campaigns have been introduced, food waste remains a serious problem in Malaysia. Why do you think reducing food waste is still so difficult today? Shami, let's start with you.
Okay, so I think one of the reason is that many people may not realize how much food they waste. So basically, food is easy to access, so people sometimes buy more than they need. Yeah.
Mai, do you have any comment on that?
Actually, Shahmi brings up a very good point. So I also think food is often taken for granted. And many people only notice the problem after the food has already been thrown away.
What do you think about what Mai has said, Young?
The food waste may also happen because people is not always have the enough information to make a better food management decision.
May I add something from that perspective? Food waste happens at different stages, from purchasing and storing food to preparing and serving it. Therefore, solving it may require efforts from consumers, businesses, and technology providers.
May I add something to Safar's point? Um, Adding to Safar's point about different stages, I noticed that this happens a lot at the consumer level. And like Young mentioned before, it comes down to information. But sometimes the issue isn't a lack of information, but how we misinterpret it. For example, many households look at food packaging and get completely confused by the expiration labels, which leads them to throw away perfectly safe food just out of fear. Either way, thank you all for sharing your own views. However, one factor that may help explain this issue is how consumers interpret information about food itself. Let's say, for example, many consumers throw away food when it still appears edible. According to a 2022 study by Hashim and colleagues involving around 460 Malaysian consumers, Malaysian discard around 15,000 tons of foods, and about 60% of it is still actually edible. So this study found that many consumers misunderstand the difference between best before and use by labels. Because of this confusion, edible food is often discarded unnecessarily. Therefore, date label confusion may be one of the most important contributors to food waste in Malaysia.
Hadif, I think based on what you're saying, I think that is an important point because many consumers nowadays they may assume that all date labels mean the same thing, so they throw away food immediately without checking its condition.
You know what? I find interesting is that this waste happens before the food actually becomes unsafe. So people may discard food simply because they are uncertain.
Uncertainty is the key issue here. Throwing food away may seem like the safest option, but it could unintentionally increase food waste.
Yeah, I think that's true. So it shows the lack of proper information that will cause the poor decisions. And the households may throw away good food simply because they are misunderstanding the packaging label.
Exactly. These findings suggest that improving consumer education may help reduce unnecessary food disposal. However, date label confusion is not only at the is not the only household related issue. Even when consumers understand labels correctly, food may still be wasted because of poor household management.
Yes, absolutely, Hadif. So I think poor food management at home also contributes significantly to food waste. According to Foy et al. 2022, poor meal planning is one of the main causes of household food waste in Malaysia. The study found that 45.8% of Malaysians they overestimate their meal planning skills. So as a result, people often buy food without a clear plan and purchase more than they can consume. Any opinion on that?
I think that's interesting, Shami. If 45.8% of people overestimate their planning skills, perhaps the problem is not a lack of knowledge, but a lack of self-awareness. People may not realize how much food they actually waste.
Yes, I think you are definitely right, Hadif. So this is because the study found that Malaysians generally have high awareness of food waste issues, but often fail to translate awareness into action. So perhaps people need to see their own waste before they realize the problem.
So, Shami, are you suggesting that people don't realize that they are a part of the problem?
Yes, exactly. It's because when people they are already managing food well, they have little reason to change their behavior. So yeah.
Based on the articles, this connects closely to the issue of data labels. Even if consumers understand labels correctly, food may still be wasted if they lose track of what they have at home.
Yeah. So the both issue that is involved information. In one case, the consumer misunderstanding the information on labels, and in other case, the lack of information about what's already there, already stored in their home.
Mm, that's actually an interesting connection between based on what has been discussed. So far, we have discussed two household-related causes, which is date label confusion and poor food management practices. However, food waste is not limited to household. Restaurants can also face their own challenges. Mai, may I ask, what are the challenges for restaurants to reduce food waste?
We couldn't hear you, man. I think your mic is mute and need to
Uh,
unmute it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, everyone. So actually, one of the main challenge is overproduction. So restaurants need to prepare enough food for customers, but they cannot predict how many customers will come each day. So because of this uncertainty, they often prepare extra food. So, according to Ghazali and colleagues, 2026, leftover food reported by 77.8% of food premises, while food scraps accounted for 61.1%. So the researchers identified leftover food as the most common type of waste. So this suggests that overproduction remains a major issue.
Yeah, that's my lot of sense, Mai. So the restaurant want to avoid the disappointing customer by running out of food. However, I think prepare too much food may cause the waste when demand is lower than expected.
Wait, so based on what you're saying, Mike, that is quite different from household waste. Because at home, people may waste food because they forget what they have. But in restaurants, waste happens because businesses try to prepare for future demand. Looking at your statistic, I think restaurants seem trapped between the customer satisfaction and the waste reduction.
Yes, exactly, Shahmi. So the restaurants must make decision before customers arrive. If fewer customers come, prepared food may remain unsold and become waste. The study also highlights that this create financial loss because waste food means waste resources and revenue.
So, Mai, may I ask whether do you think customer behavior also contribute to this issue?
Yes, I do. Customer demand can change because of weather, holidays, special events, or changing preferences. So, because of this uncertainty, restaurants often prepare extra food as a precaution.
I see connection here. In households, uncertainty about food levels may lead to waste. In restaurant, uncertainty about customer demand may also lead to waste. Although the situations are different, uncertainty seems to be what we call a common factor, right?
Yes, that is correct, Safa. Restaurant owners understand the importance of reducing waste, but they are also under pressure to meet customer expectation. So this makes overproduction difficult to avoid.
Yeah. So I think the technology restaurant that can make a better decision to resolve the overproduction problems. I think one of the possible solution is the demand forecasting. The demand forecasting that can use the previous sales record, customer trend, and historical data to estimate the future demand more accurately. And instead of relying entirely on assumption, restaurant can make decision based on the actual information.
Wow, that's sound useful. So how exactly would that reduce the waste?
Oh, according to a 2025 study by Hatta and colleagues, the real-time demand forecasting and inventory management system that can help to reduce the over-ordering and over-preparation in restaurant. And their finding is suggest that when restaurants use the data estimate the customer that may prepare more appropriate amount of food. So as a result, fewer ingredients and prepared meal may go to waste. And in addition, a recent study of Colawell and colleagues find that approximately 15 to 20% of prepared food in restaurants is waste due to the inaccurate demand estimate and inefficiency planning. So, the suggest or the forecasting may direct address one of the major causes of restaurant food waste.
Wait, so Yong, so the objective is to not eliminate uncertainty completely, but to reduce it, right? So it seems that both household and restaurants face similar challenges. Earlier we discussed the poor planning at home, and now we are discussing the inaccurate demand estimation in restaurants, right?
Yeah. So but the customer behavior can still change unexpectedly, but the focusing system may help the restaurant make the more informed decision.
That is an important distinction, Young. From our discussion so far, it appears that food waste is not always caused by irresponsible behaviors. Sometimes it may happen because decisions are made without sufficient information. Technology may not completely solve the problem, but it may reduce the likelihood of overproduction.
So that's what makes this solution particularly relevant. So earlier I mentioned that restaurants often prepare extra food because they are afraid of running out of stock. So if managers are have more reliable demand prediction, so they may be able to balance customer satisfaction and waste reduction more effectively.
Yeah. So the findings suggest the prevention is more effectively during with the food waste or after that's already has been created.
That preventive approach seems recoverable. However, even with accurate forecasting systems, some surplus food may still remain because customer demand can never be predicted perfectly. So unexpected events or sudden changes in consumer behavior may still create excess food.
That is a fair point, Safa. So if some edible surplus food still remains despite prevention efforts, what can be done to ensure it does not become waste?
Okay, let me suggest something. One possible solution is the use of food rescue mobile applications. According to Nordin and colleagues, 2025, these digital platforms diverted 40% of surplus food from landfills and achieved an 85% distribution success rate in urban communities. These platforms connect surplus food with NGOs, charities, and communities that need it.
So, instead of throwing away surplus food, It can still be used productively.
Okay, Mike. Exactly. Safe and edible food can be redistributed rather than ending up in landfills.
Wait, Safa, so your solution can also help households because when family accidentally overbuy food due to poor planning, they may have another option besides throwing it away.
Yes, based on the articles, besides reducing waste, these applications may also increase public awareness because users can directly see how much food is being saved.
Excellent point. So this discussion suggests that food waste cannot be solved through a single strategy alone. So thank you everyone for this insightful discussion. Today we have discussed how food waste in Malaysia may be driven by consumer behaviors such as date labels confusion and poor meal planning, as well as restaurant practices such as overproduction. We also explored how demand forecasting and food rescue mobile applications may help reduce food waste through prevention and recovery strategies. Overall, our discussion suggests that reducing food waste requires both behavioral changes and technological solutions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Adif too.
Thank you, Hadif.
Thank you, Adif.